Hey, what's up everyone? Morey Croson here, and today we're going to be breaking down Oblique Seville's 9.86, and we'll start the video right now. This is the newest edition of the Performance Lab. Reach your individual goals. You don't want to just talk about straight line speed. We also want to talk about your ability to be quick. We break down your video. Let's make you into the quarterback I know you can become. All right, so it is that time of year where we're going to be able to see some great improvements from track and field athletes, I feel like, across the board. Just because for the last really 2 years, there's been a lot going on. We had COVID. There's been some interesting things that have happened with like the Olympics and all that. So really going into this season, we're going to be able to see a lot of improvements from some great up and comers, and I think Oblique Seville ends up being one of those guys. I did a breakdown on him in 2019, and we talked about how he has a lot of potential because at that time he was 18, I want to say maybe he was 17. Now he's 21. And yeah, he just ran 9.86, and it's in perfect timing too, because we have like after the Olympics, especially for the men's side, at least to my opinion, I was kind of like, man, Jamaica underperformed, right? Especially from the years in the past of the past Olympics. We'd been seeing Jamaica be in the top three, and in the last one we did, there wasn't even a Jamaican in the final, and so for the 100 meter, and on the men's side, obviously they dominated on the women's side. But point being, I was waiting to see somebody really start to come out and be a top performer out of Jamaica. And we have Oblique Seville here in that third lane. That back foot here ends up getting high fast, right? I think a lot of his backside mechanics can be improved, where he's really driving forward, right? If you look at like Marcel Jacobs, I think he does such a great job out of the start, and it's because he keeps those feet low and he really drives those knees through. What I think Oblique Seville is doing a good job of is creating great turnover, right, and maintaining a very big forward lean. That's what I like about the start. If you have a good start, I think you do a really good job of like almost like you're running downhill, right, where you are really have your momentum going very far forward, so it creates this thing where you like have to turn over your legs fast. You feel like if you're not turning over your legs fast, like you might fall forward, right? And so that's where really working on those front side mechanics end up being really important. Now, as he gets into his third, fourth step, these are really good steps here. Like, look at this step. This step is almost better than his second step on this right side, right? Like he brought his leg higher on that with his left foot coming through on his second step than he did, on his fifth step coming through here, right? And that's really more what we want to be able to do. And I don't really know exactly. I tried to do some research to find out how tall Oblique Seville is. If you guys know, go ahead and leave that in the comments down below. But he took 48 steps, right? And it's hard to tell how great that is overall, right? I think he had an effective drive phase. What really stands out to me is, those top speed or top end mechanics, right? He lands just so nicely underneath him, and we talked about this before, right? So let's go 42.36 in terms of when that foot hits the ground, and he's landing and is off by 42.46, right? And this is a little bit long, I'd say, but let's just look at the full cycle. It's back down at 7.6, right? So that's really, really a great turnover speed, right? In terms of how fast he went from this foot coming back. And he's obviously a little bit, this is obviously a little bit late, right? But, how fast he was able to get that leg back underneath is really impressive. It's probably closer to like maybe 0.08 here, 0.09, right? And then it's probably like 0.32 with that, turnover speed in comparison to 0.3. But even 0.32, 0.31, any of those, that's very, very impressive, right? And what would make it really impressive is if we knew how tall he was, because that would give us a better indication of how much distance that he's really carrying per step, right? But notice, and we'll look to see how he is right to left. So here we're at 96, 296, boom, lands. He's back off pretty quickly there. I want to say it's a little bit after that 96, but not much, or sorry, a little bit after that 03. Let's say 04, right? So we'll give him 0.08. And then back down at, again, 0.36. So he's a little bit longer with that left leg, right? But again, look at how nice that transition is, right? And he lands and he bends a little bit, right? So as he lands here, he's really straight here, and then he absorbs with a little bit of bend, and then he pushes right back off, right? So you can see that boom, right? And that creates, look at that shin angle, right? We could try to get an estimate of where that shin angle is with this, okay? And you could tell this isn't the clearest, but that's really, really good. 40 degrees, maybe if we lower it a little bit more, right? I mean, that's just gonna make it so, yeah, I mean, it's about 40 degrees, which is great in terms of that shin angle, right? I mean, a lot of times we're seeing guys that are much more kind of upright with that shin, right? Closer to like this type of thing, okay, as they're absorbing, right? But you can see he's doing a great job absorbing, has a ton of ankle range of motion, right? This takes a ton of dorsiflexion in order to do this, and then he's pushing right back off. But notice he's pushing off and not by going and creating a ton of triple extension through the hip, right? He's like almost just toeing off and then cycling that leg right back through, right? So this is a great representation of why it is super important to be able to strike the ground correctly and not have so much of a focus on how you're pushing off, right? I think this is a great example of somebody that does this really well. I like his arm swing. He's very, very relaxed with that upper body. Looks like he's doing a great job of being able to relax the legs in between each step. And again, just spending very little time on the ground, very effective. I'd love if we could see like a front or back view of this, but we weren't. But yeah, I mean, obviously with running a 9.86, this puts you right up there with the best. Right up there with Fernando Munyala, Marcel Jacobs, Fred Curley, Trayvon Bromell, Christian Coleman. Like all those guys are in that same, number range. So it's going to be interesting. The World Championships are going to be freaking unbelievable this year. I feel like there's so many great guys that are going to be able to compete. I'm still interested in seeing like Zarnell Hughes and how he ends up coming back. Shu Bingchen, what he ends up doing. There's a lot of guys that I'm very, very curious to see how they do as we're going into the World Championship. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know who you think are right now the top 3 sprinters in the world at the 100 meter. Would love to be able to hear your opinions on that and where you think Oblique Seville is going to end up going into the World Champions. You think this guy's going to end up being the next world champion at 21 years old? That'd be amazing. I don't think so personally. I'm rooting for my guy Ferdinand, but we'll see what ends up happening. I still think Marcel Jacobs still has a lot to be able to prove as well. Who knows what ends up happening with him? I heard that he had like an MRI and he might have to stop sprinting. So we'll see what ends up happening with all that. But yeah, if you like the information, click that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, comments, or recommendations, you can leave those down below. Check out some of our programs. We're looking to help you guys get faster. That's like my biggest thing is I just love helping people get faster, improve their speed, understand sprinting mechanics better. And, the more videos that I've seen and the more technique, I just understand it, right? I just get what it is that you need to be able to do. And a lot of it is visual. A lot of it is being able to, take that information, look at it, digest it, and then be able to apply it. And it takes a little bit of time, right? And by a little bit of time, I mean, 4 to 6 weeks, right? But better to have improvements in 4 weeks or in 6 weeks than to see nothing at all. And I'm big on the steps, right? That's why we were talking about 48 steps for him, and I'd like to know his height. But I'm big on steps, especially with the 40 and the 60. Like you should be at certain places at certain times, right? And so based off your height, you should be able to cover a certain amount of ground. And it's the same for the 100, right? Like if we have, like, let's say Oblique Seville, I'm guessing he's about 5'10", right? So if he's 5'10", and he races against another guy that is 5'10", who takes 51 steps, right? He's going to be beating him, right? 9 out of 10 times, probably 99 out of 100 times. The person that takes the less steps in comparison to the height's going to end up winning, right? Because it just takes a longer time to be able to turn over. So I think distance per step at the end of the day is going to be more important. I want to make a video about that as well. But yeah, thanks for watching here, guys. Again, click that thumbs up, subscribe. Looking forward to hearing from you, and I'll talk to you soon.